Greetings from Boston. Welcome to Tennis Talk Daily. Well, there was a viewer the other day that commented that she thought that I looked pretty young were it not for the gray hair, and then there was a sad face. Well, I've got a solution to the problem. How do you like it? You think I look younger? Let me know. Drop a comment. You want me to change the show to like heavy metal tennis talk or possibly like Rastafarian tennis talk? Let me know. We are covering the Indian Wells tournament, and there are a number of significant events that are occurring, and it's possible that the sort of landscape of tennis could be beginning to change right before our very eyes out there in the California desert. Of course, Roger Federer is through to the fourth round, having displayed some very fine, classic Federer tennis in the match against Krajinovic. And I believe also that the spirit of Djokovic lives on at Indian Wells, and I want to talk about that a bit as well. Welcome to Tennis Talk Daily again. Subscribe to the channel to get the essential tennis commentary, the essential heavy metal, jet black tennis commentary I will be delivering. Or if you tell me to stop wearing the wig, I won't wear the wig anymore. I think it's probably a one-off. I think it looks like a Rastafarian wig, and we're having a blizzard right now in Boston, so wearing a Rastafarian wig makes me feel like I'm in Jamaica and enjoying the sunshine. Or even if I were a heavy metal guy, that was based in LA, which is, out in California, there's a lot of sunshine out there. So this makes me feel sunnier on a real wintry Boston, New England day. But what I want to talk about here first is Federer. Let me tell you a story. I was watching the match yesterday, first on my iPhone, and they were sort of trading breaks of serve, and it looked kind of even for a while. And then I had to put the phone away and drove around. I had to pick up my son. I came back, immediately tuned back into the video footage on Tennis TV, and the footage was of Roger sitting on the side of the court in his chair, changing some rackets, but he looked so stern and sort of grumpy and even angry and pissed off, a little irascible. And of course, those of us who know Federer know this look of his, but he was unshaven. He looked a little out of sorts in a way, but very stern, very serious, stone-cold serious, almost to the point of being a little bit, again, irascible. But I looked at it, and without the context, I didn't know what the score was, right? They didn't have the score up on the screen, and I was thinking, is this going badly for Federer? Because he kind of looks upset in a way, and it was a little more so. Maybe it was the heat or something. Well, as it happened, he was up 5-2 in the first and was about to go out and serve for the first set. So things were going quite well for Federer. He was playing well, but at the same time it was telling that he had this sort of stern, again, his eyebrows were pointing down. He was just sort of, he did not look okay in a way. I was joking with a viewer the other day in the comments that, to look at Roger Federer's face throughout one of these matches, particularly during the breaks when he kind of maintains that real serious, kind of stern, angry look almost, it's R-rated material. I mean, this is not stuff that, people in their, that young kids can watch. I mean, this is disturbing stuff. It's R-rated material. That's how serious Roger Federer is. But the interesting thing is that he just maintains that. And things were going well, but you know what? As I was saying in Twitter, he's just marching. He's just marching right through the match. That's what he does. And he's like a machine, and it is scary, and it is a little bit R-rated, but we love him. He gets the job done, and he certainly got the job done against Krajinovic. He was returning serve amazingly. He was hitting his ground strokes with precision and power and penetration, and he was just dictating play in a very impressive way. He is the favorite to win. He is the favorite to defend his crown. He is the dominating force of tennis, but here's the interesting thing, because you got a couple of youngsters that are starting to show their faces and starting to play some really good tennis. I'm thinking, of course, of Chung, who is starting to deliver some very consistent results. He beat Thomas Berdych yesterday. But then there's also the American Taylor Fritz, and then, of course, Borna Coric, who has been absolutely devastating at this tournament, just slaughtering his opponents in many respects. Beneteau, Fognini, Manarino. Well, he's going to face another youngster, Taylor Fritz, in the fourth round, and that will be interesting to see. But the real question is that, you know, what style of play is ultimately going to emerge as the dominant style of play in the game? I was talking yesterday, about this sort of homogenized style of play that we see out on the courts at Indian Wells, in large part in most of the matches. Of course, Federer is the exception to that, and he has this it's just awesome all-court game that is just unmatched. But the younger players, who are they emulating? Well, the spirit of Djokovic lives on at Indian Wells, folks, in the body of Hyeon Chung, in the body of Taylor Fritz, in the body of Borna Coric. The youngsters are, in large part, emulating Djokovic more than they are, say, Federer, and probably a little bit more Nadal than they are, say, Federer. Federer's influence is sort of equivocal right now. It's you've got Dimitrov, who's not doing well on the Federer model on the one hand, but you also have this sort of obvious point, which is that Federer is beginning to dominate, and Federer is going to be, he is the man to beat, but his style of play is really working, and it's not working for Djokovic anymore. It's not working for Nadal. Now, putting aside the injury question, I mean, one reason that the youngsters might want to sort of rethink their style of play, I mean, as it stands, it's very Djokovic-inspired in a way, particularly with these three individuals I just mentioned. But you would think that as a logical matter, as Djokovic and Nadal maybe begin their decline from the game, their decline from dominance, but as Roger reascends to the top spot and reascends to be the sort of dominating influence and dominating force, well, I think you're going to see some young people maybe change up their styles, and maybe Federer, again, part of his legacy may not only be all the records that he sets, but it's possible that going forward, his legacy will also be rooted in the styles of play embraced by the younger players. Now, we don't quite see it with the Fritzes and the Coriches and the Chungs yet. They may adapt. We never know what will happen, but the point for now is that, Djokovic's spirit lives on. Djokovic was not able to give us the real Djokovic the other day in a way, but these other players are carrying on, carrying that baton, carrying that banner of Djokovic, carrying forward that spirit, that kind of play. But the downside is the homogenized game. The Djokovic domination has resulted in this homogenization to a very large degree. Of course, the slowing down of the surfaces encourages it as well, but Djokovic's place in the equation is important because, along with Nadal, they do have this very, very important influence on the younger players, and it's working for some of them. I mean, Hyeon Chung, you can't argue too much with his game. Again, Djokovic was not able to deliver the real Djokovic, but Hyeon Chung is delivering a little Djokovic. So Djokovic lives on, folks, and I want to just ask you the question. Do you agree with that proposition first? So Djokovic's legacy is there, but the other question is with respect to Federer's legacy. I mean, his post-retirement legacy. Do you think he could begin to influence the styles of play in the game so that maybe one of his legacies is an all-court game, the resurgence of all-court players, or the resurgence of some serve and volleyers, the resurgence of that kind of style, more variety, heterogeneity, as it were, to use the big word. But right now, it is a very homogeneous style, but Federer does hold out the possibility of influencing the field, particularly when you have the Nadals and the Djokovic's that are possibly on their decline right now. So those are my 2 cents. Let me know what you think of my jet black hair. Do I look younger? I was just kidding. I probably will not wear this wig ever again, but I thought it might be fun. We're having a terrible blizzard out there, and at least it keeps me in good spirits. But I've got the family, the whole family's home today, and I'm having to sneak in a video, but I want to try to do these daily videos for this tournament. We've got a number of great 4th round matches set up. Federer versus Jeremy Chardy, which is an interesting matchup. Of course, I don't expect that Federer will have too many problems, pretty much for the reasons already stated, because of the variety, his consistency, because of his ruthless commitment, ruthless and sort of angry R-rated commitment, and of course the all-court game that Federer brings. We were going to have Chung versus Cuevas, and then of course Fritz versus Coric. Kevin Anderson will be playing Carrera Busta, and those will be good matches. The matches that are underway in the 3rd round to determine the 4th round matches in the bottom half of the draw are occurring right now, and I will have much more on that tomorrow. Subscribe to the channel. Let's talk more. It's going to be, I'm just on the edge of my seat about Indian Wells. Federer is the favorite to win this thing, but we've got a couple of other forces coming up that I think could be sort of suggestive of interesting changes in the game, even as they are kind of perpetuating that Djokovic paradigm in a way. I still see this possibility, given Federer's place in it, given Federer's increasing influence in a way, and given the fact that Djokovic and Nadal, their legacy might be hurt by the fact that these injuries don't let them come back, or they can't really come back in a sustained way by Roger. So in time, there is this possibility that we could see a different kind of tennis being played, less homogeneous, and Roger Federer might be able to claim that as part of his legacy. In addition to all those innumerable records that he holds, he might be able to hold this as part of his legacy as well after his retirement, that he can change this game, because that's the person that these young players should be watching right now. The players that are going to be coming up through the ranks post-Djokovic, post-Nadal, they're going to be watching Federer in this with his 2nd win, with his comeback, and I think it's going to have a real influence on the players. And in fact, Federer has stated that he wants this result. He wants to have this influence. He wants the players to play with more of an all-court game. So let me know your thoughts on these questions. Again, I think the tournament's raising some really interesting questions in terms of the future of the game, possibly, but it's been some great tennis to observe. Homogenized or not, we're getting some great tennis, and it always gets better as these tournaments progress. So peace be with you. Talk to you soon. Ja Rastafari. Bye-bye.